Hello and welcome to the CIBSE West Midlands region vlog and podcast. My name is Joss Brownlee and I'm joined today by Jack Kenny. Welcome, great to have you here today.
Hi Joss, yeah, great to be here. Thanks for inviting me on.
Excellent. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name's Jack Kenny. I've been in the industry for about 6 to 7 years. I'm CIBSE IEng chairman for the region, and I'm currently a senior M&E consultant at RLB in Birmingham.
Recent change of employee?
Yes, yeah, I started with RLB. I've been there a week, so last Wednesday was my first day. Previous employment, I was just a little bit, probably a little bit of my journey. Started at Couchberry Wilkes, was there for a short term, and then I moved to Engineering Service Consultancy, ESC, where I was there for 5 years and had some really good times and some good memories. And then I had an opportunity come up to move to RLB that I couldn't really turn down, so hence the move. And yeah, just looking forward to progressing my career with RLB now and trying to build something with the M&E team there.
Scary times moving from company to company.
A little bit, yeah, especially it's my first real big move to AC for a long time for the majority of my career. And yeah, it was scary and tough to leave. But yeah, I think sometimes you just got to back yourself a little bit and pull your socks up and yeah, just take the opportunities when they come across you.
Good. And all three of them consultancies, M&E, mechanical and electrical building services consultancies?
Yes, yeah, all three. RLB is the first multi-dis place I've worked at, so we are there is other facets to the company there, but the team I'm working in is purely M&E.
By multi-dis, you mean architectural, civil, structural, acoustic, fire, various other specialities there as well?
Yeah, so they do building surveying is one of their large portions of work. They have some fire engineering and some architecture and project management too. So lots going on, which is good. Give me some new people to learn off.
Yeah, and what attracted you to RLB from ESC?
The attraction really was because the team is quite new at RLB. The attraction really was to go there and try and build something and bring in new clients and new facets of work, and also to explore a bit more of the business side of what we do. Really enjoy being an engineer, and there'll still be lots of engineering to do, but looking forward to being a bit more client facing and liaising with other parts of RLB to see what work we can come in and where we can support and assist.
Excellent. So just going back a few steps to sort of teenage and early adult years,
Yeah.
University, college, qualifications, education?
Yeah, so when I started at Couches, I started on my HNC, did my first year there, and then I moved to ESC during my second year of HNC, which I then completed, and then ESC supported me with going to Coventry Uni to finish my studies. I was there for 3 years. Really enjoyed my time there. The course is really good. I think that they really support companies in the West Midlands to getting apprentices in and getting them through. And yeah, overall experience was really good. Finished at Birmingham, finished at Coventry Uni, got my degree in building services, and then to finish off the apprenticeship, then I had to sit my ACIBSE IEng interview, which I passed and got my professional qualifications in the summer. So yeah, my experience with the apprenticeship and transitioning from Solihull College to Coventry Uni was really good, and I think that's testament to the tutors there and yeah, to just the support and you get and the guidance you're given with the whole experience really.
Anyone in particular you'd like to highlight that supported you and your professional development that you'd like to acknowledge?
Yeah, I mean, from the education side, there's two really that stick out. So I had Lionel James as a tutor at Solihull College, who will know well from CIBSE. And then through Coventry Uni, the course director is a gentleman called Monday Akidi, and he was very good, very helpful, very supportive. So yeah, I'd definitely like to highlight both of them. And then in terms of my more professional development, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people at EC, really, the directors there. So we've got Dan Horton, Chris Pierce, Robert Adkins, James Tickle, and Chris Reed. They all always, and even when the last few months when I handed my notes in and obviously was on after pastures new, very supportive, which I knew they would be. And then probably say yourself and Martin, really, from my other avenue of involvement in building services, which is being involved with CIBSE. You both have been really supportive when we first come on to Yen, and then transitioning to chairman, and then especially the last couple of years with COVID happening, how it affected Yen, really. I mean, as you know, we're quite a social committee, you know, as the nature of the beast is. And yeah, I mean, I have had lots of help and lots of support over the years. I like to think that I've been giving some back to some of the younger generation as they've stepped foot into the likes of ACIBSE. And then probably finally at RRB is my new line manager, Grant, who I did work with at ESC. He was supportive and a very good mentor at ESC too. So yeah, they're probably the people I would how shall I say, would champion as helping me get to where I am today.
Excellent. It's really important to have that support and vision and faith to help to progress and share that knowledge. But you mentioned grads and apprentices. Are you involved with any graduates or apprentices and training and sharing that knowledge and journey?
Yeah, so we had at ESC, we had some new graduates start over the last couple of years, and we had a couple of new junior engineers, which has been really, you know, I really enjoy passing on knowledge. I think it's something that I'm quite good at is teaching people and helping to fill gaps. I think maybe because I was once in their shoes, and I sort of, you know, I had my points where I would look back and think, oh, I wish somebody had told me this at that point. So yeah, I think it's just, I think, testament to where I've been and what I've learned, that I feel I'm very rounded as an engineer, and can pass that knowledge on, and hopefully we can take that forward with RLB now as the new generation come through and apprentices are offered and new graduates enter the building.
And the same at RLB?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've only been there a week so far, so I'm still just finding my feet, but always happy to support people and to help them and just to try and give them the same opportunities I was, really.
Good. Yeah. No, that I think that's important. But so in all of your career to date, I'm guessing you've been involved in sustainability and renewables. What's been your involvement to date?
Yeah. So yeah, it's one of them where I find that in most companies the, you know, renewables and sustainability is driven from, you know, a lot from the Part L side of things, and in some consultancies it's quite it's something. So just for a little bit of background, I am electrically biased as an engineer, and I find that the sustainability part can sort of be kept over by the mechanical engineers, because they generally put together models, and they would progress the models from design stage to as built. But that's been something really good working at ESCs. You do get quite a rounded experience. So, you know, we would, on all projects, we would liaise with the mechanical side of the office around PV, air source heat pumps, and then we even had a BREEAM team at ESC, which again we would be working alongside with on projects. So it was really good to get that rounded experience and some, you know, I keep going back to sort of filling in the gaps, and you know, we'd sit in meetings where between the three of us, we would really be able to provide the client and the team with assurances that sustainability in the renewable tech was being pushed forward as best it could, really. I think something I'd like to see happening a bit more is battery storage start being looked at a bit more for projects. I think that, like with anything, costs scare a lot of people sometimes, but I think we need to really drive home the benefits of coupling, PV with battery storage. 90% of buildings now that are built, or probably more, will have an element of PV put onto the roof. There will be other sources of renewable technology. Air source heat pumps are becoming very popular, and between the three of them, you could very much offset a lot of your electrical demand for the building. But it requires investment, doesn't it? It requires us being able to galvanise clients to sign up really to the sort of holy trinity of sustainability and renewable tech. So it's something that, it is quite close to my heart. I think it's something that us as building service engineers should really start championing, which we do, I think. But I especially with the newer technologies coming through, such as battery storage, I think there is still some work to be done to get clients and developers on board. That's the way to go.
So those batteries would charge via the PV when the sun's out and whenever it's receiving energy, and then that energy would be stored in the batteries and then negate the need for the building or the development to pull energy off the grid. It would sort of work in island mode,
Yeah, correct. And then it's stuff like, if you take a typical office building, they're not going to be open Saturday, Sunday. So there's 2 days of power that you harvest that you will not use and that will go back to the grid. And it was fairly okay 10 years ago when you were getting a very good feed-in tariff. Feed-in tariff doesn't exist anymore, so you are just giving energy away for free that you will then, when you come in Monday morning, turn all your lights on, you will start paying for again. So and also, another trend that seems to be quite common now is the net zero in operation. So lots of PV will be stuck on the roof to offset the base build electrical load for buildings, which is great, which is what we want to see. We want to see more PV being put into buildings, put into developments, but in my opinion, it needs to ultimately benefit the end client, which is whoever's going to come and operate the building. And that only happens if they've got full flexibility over the power that they generate.
Yeah, and I'm guessing you get involved with innovation as well.
Yeah, we do. It's one of them that again is quite probably not as common as you'd like it to be, because new things cost money, innovation costs money, and a lot of the time I find you need clients that are very signed up to the mission of being at the forefront of development, and being at the forefront of innovation. And yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see over the next few years, especially where air source heat pumps go. I think there's a lot of room for development in that technology. I think we look at the other side, PVs and batteries. Batteries are a new tech, but generally, if you combine the two, you'll get a very robust system. I think air source heat pumps, because of the nature of them and how they work, I think we will see quite a lot of progression in that part of the renewable tech sector over the next few years, especially as buildings start to decarbonise and we move away from from gas supplies into buildings, gas boilers, and start moving on to air source heat pumps.
And what prompted you to get involved with IEng, Young Engineers Network?
Oh, good question. So when I started at Couches, probably another shout out to our vice chairman Neve. We started at Couches together, and even though I moved to ACIBSE after a year, we remained on the same college course and same went and did our degrees together. And but I think it was when we first started at Solihull College, we had Lionel James as a tutor, and he was talking to us about Yen, and the current chairman at the time was Lee Tabies. And Lee, probably another one actually I forgot to mention earlier, as especially on the CIBSE and the Yen side, been very supportive. And yeah, it went from there really. We went to a meeting at Resorts World. It's got to be about 5-6 years ago now, and it went from there really. I just enjoyed sitting around a table of like-minded people who were passionate about building services like I was, and especially passionate about bringing new, for want of a better term, new blood into the industry and really champion the fact that you can go and get a job and go and get an apprenticeship, have a full-time job, go to college, earn some money, but also work towards some really, really good qualifications at the same time.
And how do you see your roles change since Couch ESC RLB days? Obviously, a bit more experience, but massive changes, I'm guessing.
Yeah, massive. So I think, especially the last couple of years, I feel I've quite grown up as an engineer. I think keyword there is experience. The more you work on, you get to a point where a problem arises on the job, or an issue comes forward, and you've sort of dealt with it somewhere before, and that sort of sense of panic doesn't set in, and you know that you can really get past. Yeah, excuse me. You could really get past the issues and draw on previous experience. And then I think really, because there's some new faces on the Yen committee, some new younger faces at AEC over the last couple of years, I think it's helped me grow into that role of being a bit more of a mentor rather than a mentee now, and having useful experiences that I can draw on to pass on to them too.
Good, excellent. And what sort of projects have you been involved with to date?
So projects I've been, so I think I'll start with the projects I like to work on. I'm quite fond of medical projects. That's something that ACIBSE do a lot of and do well. And we would work on primary healthcare centres. We did minor op theatres, and yeah, them type of projects, I think they tap into my sort of part of the brain that really enjoys science, really enjoys the engineering, number crunching, and tapping into sort of the full design elements, stage 4 designs rather than stage 3 all the time. I enjoy all work really, but yeah, I really like being able to fully design something rather than sending out indicative drawings and indicative specifications. So yeah, so medical's probably my favourite. I enjoy anything with renewables on. Just going back to what we were talking about previously, it is the way we need to be moving forward. I think you mentioned the term island. We need to start making buildings that a bit more self-sufficient. And then I suppose moving on from medical, we had a couple of jobs where it was sort of master planning, which I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed getting involved for big utility supplies, for large developments, and especially ones that would happen in different phases, and you would have to think about the best way to set up the utilities so that they could be extended easily for the second phase or the third phase, rather than having to finish phase 1 and then get back in the trenches, so to speak, to get them utilities sorted. So yeah, I would say my probably favourite stuff to work on is probably something medical, or something that's a bit more big picture, like master planning work.
Okay. And how big's the team?
So our team at RRB there is 5 of us. So there's myself and Jed Davis on the electrical side, and then there's Grant Vasey, Andy Hanson, and Ralph Coleman on the mechanical side. To be honest, we're quite rounded engineers. I'd probably say out of all of them, I probably need a little bit of a brush up on the mechanical side. I think probably stems from working in companies that have larger teams, and you can be a bit more biased. You don't have to really put your head over and peep over the other side of the fence too much. So that's something I think from my first week I've probably identified something I'd like to improve on is mechanical systems knowledge, and different types of systems and different servicing strategies and philosophies for buildings. I mean, electrically, I'd feel very confident in that, but I would like to be able to sit down with a client and be able to talk them through, what we could do for them in terms of mechanical design too.
Okay. And what's the biggest team you've been part of?
So the biggest team I probably was part of, I think probably would have been at Couch Perry Wilkes. So there was a team of, I think there was a team of 12, but in terms of purely electrical, the team at ACIBSE was a team of 8. So the team of 12 at Couches were 50-50 M&E, whereas the team at ACIBSE, the team of 8 were all electrical engineers. So quite a mixed bag really over the years.
Yeah, and what's the biggest challenge you've had?
Well, biggest challenge. I think the move to RB was probably not the biggest challenge, but the biggest decision I've had to make. But in terms of biggest challenge, I think that my final year at uni during the height of the COVID pandemic was quite difficult. Transitioning to learning from home. In totality, really, we didn't go into class at all. That was quite tough.
Mentally?
Yeah, a little bit. It's one of them where again, when we talk about and sitting with people who are like-minded, it's always much better being able to sit in a room with people and have a chat than watching somebody on the screen go through a presentation. So that was probably challenging in terms of probably, keeping the motivation high throughout the year, because of that, because of, every Wednesday it would be, rather than getting up and getting out the house and traveling to Coventry, which at the time from my mum's house was a really nice commute. It was only 20 minutes down the country road. Even at lunchtime, during uni days, there'd be a small group of us that would detach and go and have a bit of lunch and coffee together and have a chat and a catch up. So I think that was quite tough. Obviously that was during, the big work from home era where nobody really went into the office. So I think that was generally quite tough for everybody, really. So I think a lot of people did well to overcome that challenge and keep sane and keep the work flowing and keep churning out projects and yeah, just try and keep life as normal as we did, really. But then on the flip side of that, when we sort of came out that period and people were going back into the office and especially the IEng committee could start being a bit more social, that it was a breath of fresh air when them times sort of ended and we did go back to normality. But I think probably professionally a biggest challenge. Yeah, I touched on medical projects before. I did my probably proudest project I worked on. We built 3 minor operating theatres for a dermatology unit, and they were Group 1 medical locations. And it can, with the medical locations, the first thing to do is ask lots of questions. Stuff like, would there be detriment to life or health if you lost power? That would help us work out whether we needed to include for UPS generator arrangement. And that job was a challenge. It was a stage 4 design, which we also did stage 3 to help the contractor get some costs in initially. The good thing about that for us was we already had a design that was sort of 75%, 80% done, and we had to then take that from stage 3 to stage 4. We then monitored the works on site, monitored the install. So yeah, the job was a challenge. It went very well, if memory serves, but it was definitely one that was very much cradle to grave in that aspect, really.
Yeah, And you still working remotely, working from home, or in the office every
Yeah.
day of every week?
No, it's more of a hybrid approach. So I like to try and get into the office at least twice a week. Um, I, at RB now, the whole team is in on a Monday, so we get in on a Monday, and then try and get in 1 or 2 more days in that week, just depending on the needs of the business. But no, I think I'm very happy with the hybrid approach. I don't think anybody really wants to have to make that commute 5 days a week anymore. Especially, a lot of people now are geared up to work from home. Before the pandemic, it very rarely happened, especially engineers. It never really worked from home. But I think one of the good things to come out of the pandemic was that, probably confidence from employers that people would work from home, and that work would still get done. And then also, I think that employers can see how the sort of effects on employees' well-being. I think it helps a lot. Not having to always struggle through the commute to get to town. At the minute the trains are striking left, right, and centre, which doesn't help anybody trying to get anywhere. So I think being able to look at the trains in the morning and go, wow, I'm not even going to bother dealing with that. I'm going to put the kettle on. I'm going to sit down at my desk for the day, and I'm going to get on with the work I would have done in the office anyway. So yeah, I think I think it's very important to go into the office, but I also think it's important to have your time at home as well.
Yeah. Can you tell us something about you most people don't know?
Something that most people don't know. Yes, so I did actually start my engineering journey didn't actually start with building services. I started as a civil engineer, and I had an apprenticeship with Mott McDonald, and I was about 18. And I actually finished my level 3 course, and I was actually planning to go to Cardiff University to do a civil engineering degree full time. And when I got my results at Solihull College, one of the tutors there was talking to me about what my next steps was, and he said, "Oh, we know an employer it was Catch where he works at the time, who take on apprentices. They're only up the road from Solihull College, which they were. Do you want to do you want to go along for an interview?" Which I did, and that sort of stemmed me into building services. Then, if I didn't have that conversation, I probably would have carried on going to Cardiff University, and I would have been a civil engineer in some respect. So I'm very thankful for that. Civil engineering, if any civil engineers are listening, please forgive me, but is a little bit boring compared to building services, in my opinion. I much prefer lights and HVAC and plugs and sockets to concrete foundations and dirty work, as I would like to call it.
But having that sort of inquisitive, analytical engineering mind and brain, and as you say, science, technology, engineering,
Yeah,
mathematics, all those sorts of elements to who you are and how your brain works. So engineering of all sorts. There's plenty of roles and responsibilities out there,
yeah.
but it's not unheard of to start doing one thing and then something happens in your life and you start going down a different track and following that avenue.
Yeah, very much so. And my experience from design team meetings, there's always a wider group of engineers, and um, it's probably helped me during my progression as a building service engineer, having a bit of an understanding of what others do, and how to coordinate with stuff like that. Especially on things like the master planning jobs we would work on, and thinking about, from substations, incoming cables into buildings, how they, are we interfering with foundations for the steel columns and stuff like that. So yeah, it's I mean, I keep mentioning the word rounded, but I think that's what you want to be as an engineer. I think people can get very um everybody wants to be very specialist and very specialized, which I feel I am because I'm electrically biased. But I also think that being not so much ignorant, but not not paying attention to what others do or how that affects you, I don't think it's very engineering of you to do so.
Yeah, you still need to have a conversation with civil engineers and structural engineers to
Yeah,
build the building, collaboratively,
that's right.
because without the foundations, without the groundworks, without the earthworks, without the frame and then the facade and all of the pipes and wires that is our primary area of focus, then the
Yeah,
building doesn't work. So yeah, we're never going to not speak with civil engineers or structural engineers or any of the other design team and architects. But yeah, it's just interesting how people change focus or direction, and ultimately benefit from it.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and I did really. I think I especially benefited from going back into work rather than going to uni full time. I think looking back on the person I was then, I think I would have probably got quite distracted being at uni full time, and I probably wouldn't have got the best out of it. Whereas I think going once a week, coming back into work the following day, having people sort of challenge me a little bit on my day at uni and stuff, and yeah, I think that helped me, retain focus and understand that I'm there for a purpose. Not just there to turn up and make up the numbers. There to get something for myself and to repay the good faith when companies sponsor you to go along. At the end of the day, I come out of uni debt free, with a degree, which not a lot of people do, and also been earning money for a few years alongside of it. So, for that, I'm very grateful to.
yeah, and what do you think the future holds?
For myself, or
Yeah,
generally. So for myself, I would like to think that at RLB we can grow our M&E department, um, grow it into more of a, how should I say, bringing in the type of work that all M&E people want to work on. Developments and new builds and working for clients that are very much at the forefront of what they do. And if we could do that, I think that I will, progress alongside that just as quickly. So I think the next stage for me would be to go from a senior to an associate, which is very much the plan. And once I get there, I'll be very proud of myself once I do. But for right now, it's yeah, just focusing on the new job and focusing on the team and trying to grow really.
excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us today and sharing what you have. Just a couple of last questions, if I may. What do you
Yeah.
like to do in your spare time?
Also in my spare time, so I am for my sins an Aston Villa fan, so I do like to keep up with football. And apart from that, just typical things really. Socialising with friends and family. Got quite a lot of nieces and nephews, which I enjoy spending time with. No kids of my own yet, which I'll stay that way for this foreseeable, I think. And yeah, just normal stuff really. Nothing really. I do like to cycle, but I haven't cycled for a while, so a bit reticent to put that one down really. But I have got a nice push bike, and it is ready and waiting for when I choose to use it. So that's probably something that I should do a bit more of. But yeah, just spending time with family, just in, I always think to myself, you go to work 5 days a week and you work hard, and it's all for a purpose and for a reason. And when you get time outside of work to spend with people, then make the most of it and yeah, spend it wisely. Because I mean, one thing that is quite scary is I turned 28 in September, which probably sounds quite young to a lot of people, but it scares the hell out of me because I'm nearly 30, and it seemed like a big round number that was very far away, especially when I was 21, 22, starting at Couch Perry Wilkes. So yeah, so I think as I get older a bit, I think I'm starting to yeah, enjoy the little things, and as I say, just yeah, spending quality time with people really.
Good. And you get to any other matches?
Yes, I do, to be honest. I think the last one I went to was probably one of our last good games at home. We beat Southampton 4-0, which was I think our third or second home game of the season. And since then, yeah, it's not been the best. We've had a change of manager. We actually beat United on Sunday 2-1, which was a really good result. So things are looking up. So hopefully we can keep that momentum going. I really don't want to go back to the few years before we got relegated of being a bit of a last ditch, last day team, just staying up on last day. I'm not one of these clueless fans who think we're going to be in the Champions League next year, but I'd just like to see some good football, some points on the board, and not worrying if we're going to be down with the Birmingham City boys next season, which would be enjoyable. But yeah, the less I can knock boots with the likes of them, the better, really.
And some fairly big development plans at the Villa ground, so I hear.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, the new owners have got lots of plans. And the training ground at Bodymore Heath, lots going on there. I think they want to. I don't know if you've been to Man City's ground or near recently. Just there, it's like a little village. Really, it's like a Man City village. They've got their the men's team stadium, and then across the road they've got the women's team stadium. And it's really good to see. And I think it's really nice for owners to come in and to put some money into the local community. Especially around areas. Where Villa is situated. They are up areas with probably a bit less opportunity than others. And it's really nice for them to remember the roots and remember where the team come from. And yeah, exciting times definitely for the Villa. I think they want to increase the stadium by a good 10,000 people, which would be really good, really nice to see that. I think that would put us just over 52 or 53,000 for full attendance, which would be wicked to see down there. So yeah, exciting times. You just need to keep going on the pitch. It's all well and good having lots of talk and lots of hype off the pitch, but if we can't string results together, then ultimately that investment's going to slow down slightly, isn't it?
And any stadium experience or aspirations or interest in getting involved in that development and the construction works?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think any engineer, regardless of football team bias, would love to be part of big developments and big works like that, especially when you can see the overall good it does for the community around there. And Villa Park is probably very much a stone's throw for Birmingham City Centre. We've seen the effect that stuff like the Commonwealth Games and the investment that can bring into the area. So even more so with the Villa, if we can get them developments going, get the investment going, get the team playing well on the pitch, it's a perfect storm really for Birmingham to be put on the map a bit more, isn't it?
Good, excellent. And lastly, where can people discover and engage with you more?
Yeah, so the only real social media I've got is LinkedIn. I'm not really a social media guy, but yeah, I am on LinkedIn, just as Jack Kenny. So yeah, if anybody wants to interact with me, feel free to look me up on there. And yeah, we can. I can't remember what it is on LinkedIn now. It's connect, isn't it? It's not follow. I was going to say you can follow me on there, but you connect on LinkedIn, don't you? So
yeah, well, we'll
yeah.
hopefully include a link in the bio and in the description so that people can click on that and get networking with you. But as I said previously, thank you very much for joining and sharing with us what you have today. If anyone watching or listening would like to share their thoughts with us, please don't hesitate to do so. Also, if you'd like to feature in a future episode or can know of or can think of somebody that you'd like to find out more about or is an inspiration to you, please get in touch. Please like, comment and share, and we look forward to the next episode of the CIBSE West Midlands Region vlog and podcast. Jack, thank you very much.
Thanks, Joss. Great to be here. Cheers.